Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an interesting episode for you guys. You definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So if all of you guys are fully aware at this particular moment that there's a beef, an ongoing beef, at least it seems to be that case from the outside looking in between Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and this entire beef is centered on some comments that Stephen A. Smith made about the success of ESPN's First Take on the JJ Redick podcast. I believe it was about a week ago or so, right? And we actually covered some segments from that interview, and the first segment we covered actually had to do with the relationship that Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless had, and the one time they had a disagreement, right? And we did a video about that. We may link it somewhere here later on in the video. Anyway, but over the last few days or so, there's been this beef going on between Skip and Stephen A. Smith, and it's essentially the entire thing surrounds basically Stephen A. Smith going on the JJ Redick podcast, and he basically took credit for the meteoric rise of ESPN First Take after his arrival to the show, you know, as a co-host, because before he was making guest appearances. And he basically said that Skip came to him and basically begged him, to join the show and basically save the show. So for those of you who missed exactly what he said, because I think it's important that people have the right context, and we're not going to assume that everybody knows that everyone has all the information. So we're going to play his comments, it's not a lot, and then we're going to come back and really get into this thing here. So take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say that really got Skip Bayless up in, blood boiling. So take a listen to that here.
What happened was Skip Bayless was doing First Take, and they were doing it based out of New York. It was called Cold Pizza. And they had just a regular conventional sports talk show, and they had incorporated debates for a segment here or there with Skip Bayless and Woody Page. Well, a couple years later, they moved it to Bristol, Connecticut, to the headquarters of ESPN, called it First Take, changed the name from Cold Pizza to First Take. And then one of these days, a guy by the name of Jamie Horowitz was an executive here, and he took over First Take for a short period of time. He did a focus group. And the focus group said, we don't want all that other stuff. We want debate. And so he took First Take from a conventional show and changed it into an all-debate format featuring Skip Bayless. And that's when it really took off. Of course, Pardon the Interruption was already in play, Around the Horn and stuff like that. But as it pertained to First Take, that's where its real origin came from. People debating against him. And then in 2012, they weren't satisfied with the numbers. They weren't satisfied with the ratings, the level of revenue that was being generated. Skip Bayless comes to me in the parking lot on the campus of ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. And he says, I know you got your plans. You love the NBA. You love being out on the road. You love being in the locker room. But he said, but I need you. He said, I've done all that I could to take this as far as I could go. I need you to do this for me, please. He said, I just need 3 years. He said, I think we'll knock it out the park. I thought about it. Those were clearly my best options. They weren't about to give me my own show or anything like that at the time. I thought about it for a couple of days. I said, all right, I'll do it. 1 month later, we were number one. And we've been number one ever since.
We talk about the chemistry all the time with things like this. Did you feel that chemistry right away?
Yeah, we always had the chemistry. Skip and I used to work at Fox together. Jim Rome is Burning.
Yeah.
He had that show on ESPN. It was called The Last Word when he was on Fox. And we would be in Fox studios off of Pico Boulevard and Avenue of the Stars, which I absolutely loved. The palm trees, sunshine, lunch outside with 90-degree weather, sunshine beaming down. And y'all just loved it, And they did a pilot with Skip and I, because Skip and I used to debate all the time, and we never agreed on anything. But I love the fact that, again, he stood for what he felt. And his whole thing is, this is what I believe, and I can make that argument. Now, no matter how much I disagreed, I respected the fact that that's how he felt, and that was an argument that he could make. So we would debate sometimes in the hallways. And then the executives saw us one time. They watched him do his work. They watched me do my work when I was on the Best Damn Sports Show, period. And they said, let's create a pilot. And we created a pilot that was called Sports in Black and White. and they were basically trying to create it to go up against PTI. And we did it. They loved it. We were in contract talks the whole bit. And at the 11th hour and 59th minute, the head of Fox, David Hill, pulled the plug and said, this is not what we want to do. And so from that moment on, that was in the year 2000. From that moment on, Skip and I had always wondered what it would be like if we had worked together, because we had kept in touch throughout the years. So when the opportunity finally came and he approached me in that parking lot, that was what he brought up. This is unfinished business. We were supposed to do this 12 years ago, but here we are again, and this is our opportunity. Stephen A., I need you to do this for me. And by this time, I was coming on once a week because I had returned in 2011, and then a few months in, I would come on every Wednesday, and the ratings would blow up. And he said, I need you to do it.
Did your relationship with Skip ever fracture? Was there any contentiousness there?
Never. The only time anything came close to that was when I knew he was leaving before he told me. And I was like, what the hell's going on? You know, and so I confronted him because for better or worse, I'm a straight up guy. You know, if I work with you and all of a sudden I'm leaving, you ain't going to find out from somebody else. You're going to hear from me. I'm going to come looking for you to tell you. I'm going to give you the news face to face. And I was hearing it, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then when he confessed to me what had transpired between his negotiations with the company, I understood why he couldn't tell me in the immediate moment. But that's literally the only thing that we've ever had any kind of issue about, and that lasted for like 6 hours.
Because of these comments, Skip Bayless went on his show called The Skip Bayless Show on YouTube and basically said that, you know, in no uncertain terms, that he's like, listen, that's a lie, right? He didn't call him a liar, but he definitely said that what he said essentially was not the truth, that it was a fabrication, right? He said that that is not how things went down. And he went on to systematically explain how ESPN First Take, that show, got his start from Cold Pizza when he was debating Woody Page and Stephen A. Smith was coming on as a guest with Jamel Hill, with Jalen Rose and Rob Parker and Chris Broussard, to the present day to where it is now. So he explained everything, and essentially he debunked the idea that the show's revenues were struggling. And in fact, he said at one point they were rivaling, was it Monday Night Football? And they were actually putting up record numbers in terms of ratings and revenues. That's what Skip Bayless said. And in the midst of all of this drama, Shannon Sharpe is the person that comes to mind. And to mind, I'm talking about my mind, right? He's the person that comes to mind. I think Shannon Sharpe, and I said this before, but I'm going to reiterate it here again. I think Shannon Sharpe is arguably the most entertaining sports media personality on TV. Like, pound for pound, I think he's arguably the most entertaining guy. Shannon Sharpe is smart. He's witty. He's humorous. He's passionate. And I think overall, he's just a likable guy. I think at the end of the day, when you distill it down to its essence, I just think that the majority of people that watch Shannon Sharpe talk about sports enjoy listening to him because he's likable. This is just my opinion, but I think a lot of people will concur with that, with what I just said. I think there's a level. I think he brings a level of lightheartedness to Undisputed that I think allows the show to be more accessible to a wider range of viewers. Right? He just makes it fun, especially when the show starts. He's cracking jokes. You know, I mean, he has some classic lines, and throughout the show, I mean, he has the things that he does. At certain points, you even see Shannon Sharpe make Skip Bayless break character and cause Skip Bayless to start laughing, you know, cracking up. Sometimes he cracks up the whole. I think he brings this. He makes it such a warm environment. This is just my opinion. Some people disagree. Some people don't like Shannon Sharpe. To me, that's what I think. Right. But this beef that is going on between Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, I think it brings a moment of reflection for Shannon Sharpe. From what I've been able to glean from Shannon Sharpe, just watching him from afar, he seems to be a guy that is content, but not in a bad way. he seems to be grateful for the things that he's been able to accomplish. I think he has a tremendous amount of perspective on life in terms of where he came from versus where he is. He doesn't strike me as a guy that is jealous of other people's success in any way. Now, some people will say, no, he's a Tom Brady hater. That's something else. I don't think Shannon Sharpe doesn't strike me as an envious person. He seems to be someone that is extremely comfortable in his skin, and he has no problem telling people his ideas. Sometimes people agree with him, and other times they don't. Think about the situation with the Bronny James comments that he made. And I honestly believe that Shannon Sharpe should start thinking bigger, though. Apart from the fact that he may be happy where he is, if I'm him, I'm sitting back and I'm looking at the sports media landscape, and I'm looking ahead and I'm like, okay, where could I be in the future in all of this? Because right now, Skip Bayless is on the A side of that partnership. And Shannon Sharpe said it himself. If you go listen to the interview that he had on Fox Sports Radio with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, he explains how he got on ESPN Undisputed. He explains that. But if I'm him, I believe that I would start looking to see how can I end up in the chair of a Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith, not at ESPN or something like that, but just to be in that position. Because I certainly believe he has the clout to pull it off. That's one thing. I also believe that Shannon Sharpe can get away with things that other people can't. He can say things, and at the end of those things, people would disagree with him, but still like him. But if it's said by maybe a Skip Bayless or a Stephen A. Smith, people are going to, get annoyed with them. Give you guys a perfect example. Think about the criticisms that Stephen A. Smith has had towards Kyrie Irving. It turned a lot of people off. But if you listen to Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, they all are saying the same thing in various ways, but they're saying the same. The message is really the same. But when Stephen A. Smith says it, people get annoyed with Stephen A. Smith. When Shannon Sharpe says it, no one says anything. And that goes back to, I think, his greatest strength, which is, some people say it's his hard work. And no, I think it's his likability. There are a lot of people that work hard that people don't like. People tend to like Shannon Sharpe for whatever the case it is. And some people have that gift. Some people, when you put them in a room, they're the life of the party. They may not be the richest person. They might not be the best looking person, but it's just something about their personality that makes everyone more comfortable. And whenever these people are around, everyone has a great time. I think Shannon Sharpe has that working in his favor. And I think a lot of people gravitate towards him because of it. Now, I've taken my shots at Shannon Sharpe in the past, primarily due to the comments that he makes about LeBron. Because apart from the LeBron James things that he talks about, which I don't agree with, 100% don't agree with, I just think that if I'm him, I'm sitting back and I'm looking at all of this, and I'm like, where can I be in the future? Because you've heard Skip Bayless come out and say, me and Stephen A. Smith have, discussed, getting back together. They almost did with a show that they were going to dedicate to, ESPN Plus, I believe it is. And if I'm him, I'm not upset with Skip Bayless wanting to do his own thing. That's fine. That's within his prerogative. He's a grown man. He can do whatever the hell he wants. They're not married. I just think if I'm him, I'm looking at the landscape and I'm like, okay, where is this thing going to be in the next 5 years? And who am I going to be? Because in the next 5 years, man, or the next 3 to 5 years, I think he can definitely be at the top. Some people disagree. Some people say there's other people. To me, that's what I think. I think Shannon Sharpe is the guy. So these are my thoughts and opinions. And the question to you guys is this. Do you think Shannon Sharpe should consider exploring other options in terms of other career decisions he can make on TV as a TV analyst? Or do you think that he just needs to stick with Skip Bayless and ride that out and continue with Undisputed? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.